10 songs written as throwaways, recorded as jokes, laughed at by the people who made them. Some took 10 minutes, one was scribbled on a fried chicken bag, another made the co-writer call the lyrics just plain dumb. And every single one became a global smash that you've danced to your whole life at cookouts, weddings, every party that mattered. But you probably don't know the artists thought they were making jokes. Here are 10 songs that weren't supposed to be hits, but refused to stay down.
Just laid there wet and frightened.
Number 10, Jungle Boogie by Kool and the Gang, 1974. Here's what most people don't know about one of the most sampled funk songs in history. The guy doing that iconic voice wasn't even in the band. Kool and the Gang had been grinding for years. Solid musicians, good reputation, but they needed something different. Their label wanted them to capitalize on a recent African-influenced hit, so the band went into the studio and came out with Jungle Boogie. But here's the thing, that growling, grunting voice screaming those commands. That's Don Boyce, the band's roadie. Not a singer, not a performer, the guy who carried their equipment. Ronald Bell came up with the music, but when they needed someone to deliver those wild spoken vocals, they grabbed the roadie and put him in front of the mic. The song has almost no lyrics, just the title repeated over and over. Pure rhythm, pure vibe, the kind of track that sounds like it was thrown together in an afternoon, because it basically was. Kool and the Gang recorded 3 massive funk tracks all in one night. This jam session experiment shot to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 2 R&B, sold over 1 million copies. Got sampled by everyone from the Beastie Boys to Madonna, even showed up in Pulp Fiction 20 years later, introducing a whole new generation to a song that was never meant to be more than a groove. If you've ever been at a party when that beat drops, if you've ever felt your body move before your brain even registered what was playing, sometimes the simplest ideas hit the hardest. Kool and the Gang wasn't trying to write a masterpiece. They were just trying to make you move. And that roadie's voice, still getting people on the dance floor 50 years later. Number 9, Shake Your Booty by K. Number 8, Brick House by Commodores, 1977. The Commodores recorded a song based on one of the crudest expressions in the English language, and Lionel Richie's mother couldn't face her church friends because of it. 1977, the Commodores needed one more song to finish their album. They'd already recorded smooth ballads, but they needed something with more edge. So they sent guitarist William King home to write something. He fell asleep trying to think of an idea. When he woke up, there was a notepad on his chest. His wife, Shirley Hannah King, had written lyrics while he was sleeping based on that expression. You know the one. She cleaned it up slightly, but everybody knew what it really meant. The band didn't think much of it. It was simple, almost too simple. When they finished recording, they didn't expect it to be a single, let alone a hit. It was just a fun track to balance out the slower material. Lionel Richie's mother was so embarrassed by the song, she told him she couldn't face her friends at church. But here's what nobody predicted. That simple, vulgar, adjacent song became an anthem. Number 5 on the pop chart, number 4 R&B, and it outlasted almost everything else they recorded that year. The crude joke survived longer than the serious art, and Shirley Hannah King understood something the critics didn't.
Yeah, she's mighty, mighty.
When you hear that bass line and those horns and the lead vocal, you're not thinking about poetry, you're thinking about moving. Sometimes the song everyone dismisses becomes the one everyone remembers. Ask anyone who was at a party in '77, they remember this one. Number 7, Car Wash by Rolls-Royce, 1976. Norman Whitfield wrote one of the biggest disco hits of the '70s on a fried chicken bag during a basketball break. By 1976, Norman Whitfield had already cemented his legacy. This was the man behind Motown Classics' absolute royalty. So when a director asked him to do the soundtrack for a comedy about a car wash, Whitfield wasn't exactly thrilled. But he needed the money for his new label, so he said yes. Problem was, he couldn't figure out how to write a song about washing cars. He sat with it for weeks. Nothing clicked. Then one day, while recording at the studio, the band went outside to shoot some basketball during a break. Whitfield stayed inside eating fried chicken, watching them play. And suddenly it hit him, and he grabbed the paper bag his chicken came in and started scribbling lyrics. A song about a place where the boss doesn't mind if you act a fool, where you might meet your girl. Simple, catchy, built on a groove that mimics the rhythm of an actual car wash. He wanted the music to sound like a machine. The song became Rolls-Royce's debut single, and it went straight to #1 pop chart, R&B chart, #1 on both. The soundtrack won a Grammy. A song that came from a chicken bag during a basketball timeout became the biggest hit of Norman Whitfield's post-Motown career. Here's what I think about when I hear this song. Norman Whitfield didn't want this project. He took it for the check, and he still couldn't help but make something timeless. That's what separates the great ones. Even their throwaway work has genius in it. If you've ever sung along to this without knowing any of this, now you know that Hook was born on a greasy paper bag. Number 6, The Rubber Band Man by The Spinners, 1976. The co-writer of this song thought the lyrics were just plain dumb. She told the producer, he recorded it anyway. Tom Bell was one of the architects of the Philadelphia sound. He'd already produced 5 #1 R&B hits for the Spinners, but by '76 the group needed a crossover pop hit. You and me, we're going out, catch a later sign. Bell had an idea, a very personal one. His son Mark was being teased at school for being overweight. Guaranteed to blow your mind so high. The other kids called him hurtful names. Bell wanted to change how his son saw himself. So he wrote a song about a big guy who was the life of the party, the guy everyone waited for, because when he showed up, things got started. When I saw this short man between. He brought his songwriting partner Linda Creed in to help with the melody. Creed thought the lyrics were ridiculous, just plain dumb, she reportedly said. A song about a dancing large man keeping time. The Spinners were known for sophisticated soul. This felt like a novelty track. Bell didn't care. He even choreographed a dance routine involving actual rubber bands. The song Creed thought was dumb hit #2 on the Hot 100, stayed there for 3 weeks, topped the R&B chart, became one of the Spinners' biggest hits. Decades later, it showed up in Avengers, Infinity War, introducing it to millions of people who weren't even born when it came out. And here's what gets me: Tom Bell wrote this for his son to make a bullied kid feel better about himself. The silly lyrics were the point. He wanted to celebrate people who don't fit the mold, the ones who show up and light up the room anyway. Sometimes the songs that sound the simplest carry the deepest love. Number 5, Play That Funky Music by Wild Cherry, 1976.
Quickly, yes I did. To disco.
A white audience member heckled a white rock band. They wrote it down. It became their only hit.
Come and check out the show. Yeah, there was that.
Wild Cherry was a hard rock cover band from Ohio. By 75, disco was taking over and their gigs were drying up.
And singing and moving to the grooving.
Nobody wanted to hear rock covers when they could be dancing. The band's leader, Rob Parisi, tried to convince his bandmates to play more dance music. They resisted. They didn't want to be labeled a disco band.
I never had no problem.
One night at a club in Pittsburgh, playing for a predominantly black audience, someone shouted at them during a break, "Are you white boys going to play some funky music?" Parisi didn't get offended. He grabbed a pen and a drink order pad and wrote down exactly what was happening to them, a rock band forced to change with the times.
Hey, wait a minute. Now first it wasn't easy.
The song was autobiographical, self-deprecating, almost a joke about their own situation.
Play that funky music right.
When they recorded it, the band was nervous about those lyrics. Parisi's own father told him to take it out. Label executives were worried. Parisi refused to change a word.
Play that funky music. Play that funky music.
And that self-aware, almost mocking track went to number 1 on both the pop and R&B charts. Billboard named Wild Cherry Best Pop Group of the Year.
You got to keep on playing funky music. Play that funky.
A Grammy nomination followed. They were playing the Grammy show within months of being heckled at a club. And here's the thing, they never had another hit. Wild Cherry became the definition of a one-hit wonder. But what a way to go. A song born from heckling, from embarrassment, from being forced to adapt.
Leave it behind. Oh, now it's so.
If you've ever had to reinvent yourself, if you've ever been told you don't belong somewhere and decided to make yourself belong anyway, this song is for you. The joke became the legend. Number 4, Disco Duck by Rick Dees, 1976. This man got fired from his radio job for mentioning his own song. 5 days later, it was number 1 in America. Rick Dees was a morning DJ in Memphis. Not a musician, a disc jockey who made people laugh between songs. In '76, disco was everywhere and Dees thought it was ripe for parody. He met a guy at his gym who could do a perfect duck voice. That was enough. Dees wrote Disco Duck in a single day, a novelty song about disco with a quacking voice. It was intentionally silly, the kind of thing you'd expect to play once and forget. He released it on a tiny Memphis label. Here's where it gets wild. The song started catching on in the South, but Dees wasn't allowed to play it on his own show. Station management said it was a conflict of interest. Rival stations in Memphis wouldn't touch it either, afraid they'd be promoting the competition. So Disco Duck was a regional hit that couldn't get played in its own city.
Thank you, Duck. We're getting down.
On October 11th, 1976, Dees mentioned the song on his show. Didn't play it, just mentioned it. His station fired him. 5 days later, Disco Duck hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Number 15 R&B, sold over 4 million copies. Won a People's Choice Award. Rick Dees got a new job at the rival station. They let him play his song all he wanted, and he went on to become one of the most famous DJs in the country. hosting the weekly Top 40 for decades. A joke song, a duck voice from a guy at the gym, a firing that happened right before the biggest moment of his career.
My arms are beginning to cluck.
If that's not proof the universe has a sense of humor, I don't know what is. Number 3. Troglodyte, Caveman, by Jimmy Castor Bunch, 1972.
Move!
Jimmy Castor made a funk song about cavemen hitting women with clubs. It introduced a character named Bertha Butt, and it went top 10. Jimmy Castor was a serious musician, started as a doo-wop singer in the 50s, played saxophone, wrote songs for major groups. The man had credentials, but in '72, he decided to do something completely different.
She got up. She was a big woman.
Troglodyte opens with Castor telling a story about prehistoric times, about a caveman who saw a woman, and well, the original lyrics were even wilder than what made it to radio.
You can't do that today, fellas, because it might come off. You got a piece of hair in your...
The whole caveman stereotype set to the funkiest groove you've ever heard, and he introduces Bertha Butt, one of the Butt sisters.
Her name was Bertha.
This should not have worked. It was a novelty record wrapped in a serious funk arrangement, and the spoken word intro was theatrical, almost comedic.
She picked up a tree.
Critics didn't know what to make of it. Was it satire? Was it just silly? Did it matter? The song peaked at number 6 on the Hot 100, number 4 R&B, sold over 500,000 copies, certified gold. And it became one of the most sampled songs in hip-hop history. That funky breakdown producers have been chopping it up for decades. The caveman joke became the foundation for countless beats. Jimmy Castor kept Bertha Butt alive too.
That's our national anthem there, outside of Leroy. Most of the stuff...
She came back in '75 for a whole sequel, a character universe born from a novelty track. If you've ever thought your silliest idea wasn't worth pursuing, think about this.
Listening to his stereo with head...
A song about cavemen became a hip-hop sample goldmine. Jimmy Castor knew something the rest of us forget. Sometimes you have to let yourself be ridiculous to make something timeless. Number 2. Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas, 1974. 10 minutes, 2 takes. That's all it took to record one of the best-selling singles of all time.
He said, "Here comes the big boss."
Carl Douglas was a Jamaican-born session singer living in London. His producer was British Indian.
Get it on. We took the bow and made a stand. Started.
They were working on a song that was supposed to be the hit, but they needed something for the B-side. The producer asked Douglas if he had any lyrics lying around. Douglas showed him a few.
From a fainting to a slip and a kicking from the hip.
One of them was about the Kung Fu movie craze sweeping through theaters. Bruce Lee had just changed everything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
The producer picked that one. They had 10 minutes of studio time left, 2 takes. That's all they recorded.
Those kids were fast as lightning.
And because it was just a B-side, the producer went over the top, the sounds, the chopping effects, the campy riff.
In fact, it was a little bit fried.
He later said it was a B-side, who was going to listen? And he didn't take any of it seriously. 11 million copies.
Now we're into a brand new trip. Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Number 1 in 12 countries. Number 1 on both the Billboard Hot 100 and the Soul Singles chart. One of the best-selling singles in history. A song recorded in 10 minutes, never meant to be heard. With sound effects the producer added as a joke, Carl Douglas and his producer created something from almost nothing. Neither of them were martial artists. They just saw what was happening in culture and threw something together. And it worked. If you've ever sung this at the top of your lungs without knowing any of this, you're not alone. That B-side joke became immortal.
In fact, it was a little bit
Number 1, Super Freak by Rick James, 1981.
That girl is pretty kinky.
Rick James wrote this song as a joke. His exact words, he made it so white people could have something to dance to. 1981.
It's alright. That girl's alright with me.
Rick James had already established himself as a funk innovator. Serious music, deep grooves, the kind of artistry that made him a legend in the R&B community.
I really love to chase her.
But he was in the studio and his album was almost done. He needed one more track. James threw it together quickly. He told a magazine in '83,
The kind of girl you read about.
"I was in the studio and everything else was done. I just put Super Freak together really quickly. I wanted a silly song that had a bit of new wave texture to it."
It's wine and candles. It's such a freaky scene.
He even added an operatic vocal structure as a joke. He wasn't taking it seriously. The lyrics were risque.
That girl is pretty wild now.
A radio DJ friend heard an early version and told James it was too dirty for radio. So James cleaned it up slightly and gave his friend a co-writing credit for the help.
That girl is pretty kinky.
Even after the changes, some stations hesitated. MTV refused to play the video because they weren't playing black artists at the time.
I really like to taste her. Every time we meet.
Rick James fought back publicly, and despite all of it, Super Freak became his biggest pop hit.
Yeah.
Number 16 on the Hot 100, number 3 R&B, number 1 on the dance chart for 3 weeks, Grammy nominated. But here's where the story goes beyond James himself. In 1990, MC Hammer sampled that bass line for You Can't Touch This.
She's a very kinky girl.
The sample was so prominent that James got a songwriting credit. And when You Can't Touch This won the Grammy for Best R&B Song in '91, Rick James won too. His joke song earned him his only Grammy.
Make my move to her room, it's the right time. She's never.
Rick James passed away in 2004. What people forget is that this was a musical genius, a man who could write and produce hits in his sleep.
Once you get her off the street, oh girl.
Super Freak was him goofing off, him not taking himself seriously for 3 minutes. And that's the track that outlived everything else.
Please. Oh no. That girl is pretty.
That's the one still playing at every wedding, every party, every moment when people just want to let loose. The joke became the legacy.
I really love to chase her.
10 songs, 10 accidents, 10 moments when artists stopped trying so hard and just let themselves have fun. And every single one of them became bigger than the serious work they sweated over. Maybe that's the lesson. Sometimes the best art comes when you're not trying to make art at all. When you're just vibing, joking around, seeing what happens. These throwaway tracks outlasted the masterpieces. They're still moving bodies 50 years later. So next time you're at a party and one of these songs comes on, remember you're dancing to a joke that refused to die.